Hey, the internet, y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to kill him.
He's the one that's tied to the dude that makes the loaded dice. Right? Check the play out. All entertainers, when you go to Houston, stay away from Jay Prince Jr. The whole play going on. Here go the play right here. The play is a loaded dice.
According to reports, 50 Cent shocked the internet by releasing new evidence that connected Boosie and Jay Prince Jr. to the setup of Duke the Jeweler, who was shot dead in Houston during a high-stakes dice game. It has been reported that the compromised files include surveillance screenshots, strange text exchanges, and timestamps showing planned movements the night of the murder. The sheer volume of people demanding justice as hashtags like #justice for Duke got viral, astounding followers despite Boosie and Jay Prince Jr.'s silence. The mounting evidence is garnering a lot of attention. If these facts are accurate, there could be a major shift in the unsolved case on the velvet table. Bloodstained dice rolled, even though everyone in the room was grinning. Only one man would survive the night. Duke, the jeweler, did not pass. Away in poverty, surrounded by wolves with ferocious smiles and hidden ambitions, he died. The blood that mob tie is currently handling is not new to federal investigators. This robbery was successful. Instead of being killed by unknown attackers in a dark alley, Duke was killed by people he had once stabbed up minutes earlier at a drunken hosted dice game. It's possible that the same hands that had once hugged transmitted coded warnings as well, and the grins quickly disappeared. People are now sweating because they were there that night. Overseen by the federal authorities. And 50 Cent, he's not going to be silent. He is adding fuel to the fires by reposting screenshots, receipts, and mysterious captions that suggest Duke's death was premeditated rather than occurring at random. That's what makes it more eerie. The table had been shut down at AJ by Duke. Prince Jr.'s event was only 2 weeks before Takeoff died tragically at another dice game. The resemblances are frightening. The wrong man wins, and it seems like gunshots come next. Investigations into Boosie, Jay Prince Jr., Lil Cam, and the modeling circle are ongoing. It started as whispers and has now turned into official federal heat. But how might a lighthearted dice game become a death sentence? To grasp that, we need to go back in time. At first glance, Duke the Jeweler seemed invincible. A proud, self-made Chicago native was brimming with prosperity before the stakes died. The streetwise superstar Duke the Jeweler was more than that. He had a reputation in the jewelry industry for making one-of-a-kind items for wealthy customers. Not just YouTubers or SoundCloud hopefuls. He had a clientele of rich executives and rappers with real influence. This trip to Houston was not a leisure activity.
Even when I got my chain stuck, go through hard times, but we know that what made us. Can't blame us, we love the script, cause that what paid us. Yeah, ain't relax, I know them niggas laid on. I call King, I get the pressure going where I'm up. I can't even find know how many nights I'm stayed up.
According to insiders, it was all business. Boosie asked Duke directly to discuss a new high-end custom order with assurance. The Duke loaded up his $1 million Louis Vuitton duffel with expensive diamond sets and headed south. But this trip might end up being more of a setup than a sale, and Duke didn't know that. Even he was unaware of the background's true ominousness as his final hours approached. It was more than just a friendly game of dice that night. Leaked audio released by Deep Street intelligence group WAC 100 revealed the table was part of a contrived setup. WAC asserts that the circuit that Prince Jr. runs is now referred to as a loaded dice circuit. This is a little street activity that always involves the same 3 individuals: Lil Cam, Big Capri, and a guy simply gave Wolf a call. These 3 rotate the dice, controlling the flow of the game as if they were passing sacred objects. It's a simple pattern. In all cases, the house wins unless the dice end up in the incorrect hands. That night, Duke broke the rules. He rapidly started winning after catching the rotation slip and rolling the manipulated dice. Using tiny, enormous, and massive hits, he wiped out thousands. The area shifted, the grins vanished. For those who established a system, don't laugh it off when you violate it, they grip more tightly. There was pandemonium after that. Longtime observers and street insiders say that Jay had said that Prince Jr. keeps 30% of each dice game's earnings.
He was walking to his car or something, and some dude tried to rob him. Some dudes tried to rob him. Some dudes had tried to rob me and walked off by himself. I had just met dude yesterday. Try to rob dude must ain't get up.
Ocean Flight Zach, we're number 2 for departure. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin.
That means Duke wasn't just lucky when he started winning big. He was spending every penny he had earned that evening. That kind of fury is not ignored in a system that tracks down every dollar before it is even earned. Moreover, Duke shared his profits with others. He kept his admirers informed at every turn. Shining brightly, he was draped in jewels, flung out stacks like flyers, laughed with confidence, and was continuously filming on Instagram. In the video, however, the most disturbing clues are disclosed. If you slow down the footage from that night, you can hear Boosie's small, barely audible whistle. Innocuous until you watch what happens. His nephew looks straight at Duke as his head turns. Then, a man in a red sweatshirt delicately taps the nephew's arm. An additional gesture that might not represent anything until it is considered in the context of the bigger picture. The energy in the room changes in a few seconds. Duke gets tired of laughing easily. The sound of the dice hitting the table was no longer funny. You can practically feel the weight shift, as though the air had gotten thicker. A countdown. Like someone secretly hatching a plan. After a few minutes, Duke the jeweler vanished. Not a silent exit, but execution. This makes one wonder, was this a ruse to pass for a dice game?
Stay silent.
The entertainer invites him in. Act like you cover for him, hanging out, everything is cool. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go here, let's go there. He introduces the dice game. He got 3 mothers, right, who rotate the dice. Now these dice is loaded. Tell me it's a Wolf, Big Caprice, and watch this, and Little Cam are the loaded dice rotators. Right? He said, what? There was a situation that occurred that a certain jeweler round and got past the dice on accident and was hitting on them for a couple hundred. They got irritated about that. I ain't gonna go too far into that story because, right? Boom. The only way they could get their money back was however money back. He said, but Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice are the 3 designated to say I'm up, I got the next, and they pass the dice to each other, but they loaded, but they shoot.
For a second layer lifts more eyebrows. A famous tourist was lured into a dice game in a city like Houston by Boosie, a multi-millionaire with decades of experience in the industry, with more than $1 million in ice, and no clear security. Either that was intentional or a mistake. Moreover, where was Jay's purported protection? Prince Jr. Why was there no security for a jeweler from out of town, who was renowned for transporting large objects? These are not just hypothetical inquiries. The red flags were pointing straight into the spotlight of the government now that they were in mob ties. But let's be honest, when Bowie initially emerged after Duke's death, his face did not radiate innocence. He looked white, as someone who has just seen a plan go awry. Distracted and nervous, that was more than enough for federal investigators, who were already looking into Bowie due to unrelated legal matters. But after Duke's death, the federal government decided to separate this case into a separate federal homicide inquiry. No more delays, no detours, just one objective: the demise of Duke the jeweler. The first big step the feds took was to track down Duke's final cell phone activity. Last but not least, his phone pinged Bowie's recording studio. And unless Duke's phone happened to wander there, it was in the possession of someone from Boosie's group. The appearance was poor, even worse. The individual who took the phone didn't bother to clean it down or dispose of it. It simply went dark after that ping, suggesting that it was most likely turned off on purpose. This was not only strange, but it was also disrespectful to federal agents who don't put up with irresponsibility. They found damning fingerprints from Boosie's nephew and cousin. After performing a comprehensive forensic study on Duke's rental car, the arrangement now looked more like a planned operation than a haphazard act of violence. Then the witness, who happened to be smoking outside the building, showed up. Investigators were informed by this witness that they saw Duke, who appeared relaxed, walking by himself in the direction of his car.
It was a jeweler. I gotta do my research, see what jeweler might have been down there shooting dice. But nevertheless, to all the entertainers, you know, Dukes of Hazzard was one of my favorite shows, right? I don't know if y'all watched it. I was thinking about Daisy Dukes for a reason. I don't know why I said that. You know, one might go with it, may not go with it, but I don't know. The math is math and let it math. But entertainers, beware of with Jay Prince Jr. when he talked about let's go shoot some dice. Because the loaded dice crew of 3, Cam Wolf and Big Caprice. We know Lil Cam in there because I believe somehow, some way he was caught up in the dice situation. Rest in peace, Takeoff. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know this, Jay Prince Jr. got a whole thing, and when y'all come into town, hold on, bro. Didn't they say Fifth Ward earlier that day shooting dice?
Yep, that's a fact. That word been out, Wet. That word been out. We been out that memo.
And then, so I've been getting hit all day, and it got to the point that the thing, they were like, setting into dice. That's what this nigga Jay Prince Jr., boy, these niggas got all kind of shit going on down there. They say, he said the jeweler nigga got past the dice. He didn't even know the motherfuckers was loaded. He just think he hit. These niggas is mad as a motherfucker. Cause they like, nigga, how you pass this nigga the loaded dice on us?
Suddenly, however, Boosie's nephew sprang out of the shadows as though he had been waiting. According to the witness, Duke sensed that something wasn't quite right. He reportedly swung first in an attempt to protect himself, but it was too late. It is said that Boo's nephew just needed to pull the trigger once. Then comes the most horrifying thing. There was no attempt at robbery. There was no theft of cash or valuables. Everything Duke had on him was left behind. No one was robbed there. I was silent after that. Moreover, the crew did not try to hide the evidence they held onto. The suitcase. It's not just being irresponsible, it's arrogance. And who else recognized the conceit right away? Observers claim that 50 Cent started disseminating street rumors and subliminal warnings right away. Because when an outsider joins Houston's dice scene, the same unwritten rule typically applies: don't forget to check in, and if you don't, someone is watching. It is understood even though it isn't mentioned in any contract or manual. The unspoken law of Houston streets: if you're an athlete, influencer, or artist in town, you'd better get in touch with Jay Prince Jr. and his mob connections. That regulation has been a silent phantom hovering over us for years, but the truth is beginning to come to light. After all, what happens if the people you are meant to check in with are also plotting your murder? Duke attended a dice game that Jay was hosting, Prince Jr., just as he hosted the infamous dice session that led to Takeoff's downfall. 2 males were each left in corpse bags, on to different occasions. A culture that was once thought to be protective is now beginning to resemble a control network. If Jay Prince Jr. actually runs a city as he claims to, why do the number of fatalities at his events keep rising? That clash makes the entertainment business anxious. Rumor has it that artists are pulling back. Labels are quietly pulling out of Houston shows. Events that once featured a lot of celebrities are now being subtly discontinued. The Mob Ties brand, once a symbol of street cred, is fading, despite the loudness of the stillness. One person is not remaining mute. 50 Cent's mysterious films, bold statements, and direct threats have the industry closely watching him. Some say he's trying to get lucky by criticizing these street legends. Others believe he's only saying what everyone else is afraid to admit. That something more terrible and dark is happening beneath the smoke and jewels. This takes Bowie full circle. Federal agents are reportedly stepping up their operations. They have removed Duke's case from Boosie's already heavy workload and launched a focused inquiry. That goes right to the heart of that specific night. His son's bank records, his digital footprint, and the monitoring devices in the estate are all being closely examined, but perhaps the most important spark came from within his own home. According to street insiders, Boo's girlfriend may have given away something when she claimed that Bowie returned to the building that night, visibly agitated and hiding something. But ever since, Boosie has pretended to be unaware of what happened. In public, playing the innocent, the stillness is getting louder, and the folks who used to sit at the dice table are now forced to play a far riskier game, one where every secret has a cost and every action is tracked. There is a simple yet explosive question that is now making the rounds. If Bowie falls, who will he bring down with him? Since his performance isn't a solo one, Boosie walks with other people. His name, cousin, and nephew are now linked to J. Prince Jr., whose identity is already being closely scrutinized in the wake of Takeoff's murder. These connections aren't made at random. The primary objective, the dice table, is reached by each of these intersecting strands, but it doesn't end there. To penalties now. A once proud Mob Ties affiliate is altering the narrative. In the past, he would always call out Prince Jr. in interviews, but these days, he hardly ever does. It's not a coincidence, it signifies a significant shift in allegiance. Something broke inside that camp and it's showing now. At first, the break seemed to be a silent fade. Finesse stopped going to Mob Ties performances, no backstage access, no promotional runs, and no group appearances. People paid attention. Then the murmurs increased in volume and frequency. And according to insiders, it all started with a woman, specifically Fitness's baby mama. But there were other facets of this besides relationship drama. A few months back, she and her mother allegedly set Finesse up, contacted the police, and imprisoned him for breaking his probation. It was a calculated move that nearly ended his life, but he was gone as fast as he'd come in. That was when Prince Sr. took charge. Sr. called, pulled threads, and connected with the right people in the background. Finesse was allowed to leave after 2 weeks. That should have solidified loyalty. But instead of thanking him, Finesse risked something. He went back to the same woman right away. That was the breaking point, when Prince Sr. had had enough. He didn't hold back. On Twitter, he spoke it out loud for everyone to hear. The message was, loyalty has boundaries. There is no such thing as unconditional protection. Furthermore, if you cannot honor the hand that saves you, you are no longer a member of the circle. This was more than just a private outcry. It gave a signal. The coalition of Mob Ties is breaking apart from within. What was formerly thought to be an exclusive circle of influence is being torn apart by internal betrayals, legal exposure, and an increasing lack of responsiveness from former allies. And the more names that are connected, the more intense the heat becomes. I told him to keep the FK away from that girl if he values his life. That was a warning. Nor was it merely cancel. It came down to survival. But he was not listening. Even after stepping in to spare him from a prison sentence, the message never made it to him. Now the dominoes are falling rapidly. This extends beyond bad decisions. It's about the speed at which partnerships might disintegrate when dedication waned. There's a new rumor going around town that might topple the foundation. Rumor has it that it's possible that Prince Jr. had two ladies impregnated against his will. Even without declarations, DNA, or confirmation, Finesse's silence says more than words ever could. Supporters started forming relationships. Prince Jr. has a strained relationship with Boosie behind the scenes, a falling out with Takeoff's family, and now a delicate public split. The drama isn't isolated anymore. It's a maze of unbridled authority, eroded trust, and deteriorating loyalty. How many bridges can one man burn before the entire empire falls apart? Is one of the questions that are beginning to emerge, because this is a reality. Your system of coercion, quiet, and covert leverage can be overthrown with just one defection. One person to break the silence, or one voice, whether it's with a buddy, a former ally, or a stressed artist. Once they say something, it's over. So who's going to break first? Will drunken federal officers push it into a corner, dividing his estate between Baton Rouge and Georgia? Will Finesse finally reveal the months-long rumors? Or will 50 Cent's incessant remarks and digital breadcrumbs cause J. Prince Jr. to feel pressure to crack the code and speak up to protect himself? Let's not kid ourselves, because the collapse is already taking place. Investigations are no longer the only thing the federal government does. Everything is being watched, every penny is being tracked, and every activity is being observed. This is not a rap quarrel. The energy level is Rico. It's calm, deliberate, and strategic. Retraction is what the labels are. Artists are going extinct. Mob ties that were once unbreakable seem to be weakening. If the accusations are true and Duke's killer was caught on camera, the only issue left is who will get the footage first, the federal authorities or TMZ. In any event, if you're interested in this subject, Please leave a remark below when the tape releases. Do you think the internal collapse of the mob ties empire is happening? Who flips first, Boosie, Finesse, or J. Prince Jr.? Click the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a beat.